Today we will be learning how to draw turtles.
All right, today's project is a big shout out for my grandson Charlie and my granddaughter Vivi. We are going to be doing a turtle today, 2 different ways. So stay tuned, everybody. Can't wait to get started.
The first turtle we're going to do is a land tortoise. You are going to need to get your pencils, crayons, a black pen if you want to outline, and an eraser if you make any mistakes. And we're going to do our paper going horizontally today. That means lengthwise. This time we're going to not fold the paper. We're just going to do simple shapes. The first shape we're going to do is the turtle shell, and we want to make sure we have enough room. So we're going to make a half circle in the middle of our page, and we're going to do sketch lines, which are very light lines. So if we make a mistake, we can erase the line. So that is the first line you're going to draw, and it looks like sort of a hill or a half circle. Now we're going to connect those 2 lines with a straight line, finishing the bottom of our shell. All right, so now we are going to draw the head and the neck. You're going to decide if you want it on the left side or the right side of your tortoise shell. I'm going to put it on the right side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the neck, which is basically a square or a rectangle, and depending how long you make your neck. And then I'm going to draw the simple shape of a circle, which is the head of the turtle. So you can draw pretty much anything by breaking it down into simple shapes. So now where those lines meet up, I can erase those lines, and then I have my finished tortoise's neck and head. And now I'm outlining just the contour lines, contour meaning the outer line of the head and neck. And now I will erase that inner lines that I used as a reference. Here's a fun fact. Turtles that are on the land are called tortoises, and turtles that are in the ocean are called turtles. So tortoises, land, turtles, water. Just a fun fact. All right, now that I erased the lines, I'm going to draw the legs. And the legs are simple shapes as well. What do you think that shape is? Did you say square or rectangle? Depending on how long you make your tortoise's legs. Well, now we're going to draw a rectangle or a square on one edge of the shell and do the same on the other side of the shell. I made it curve in a little bit just to give it a little bit more realistic look. And I can erase that line and redo it just to make sure I get it correct. Another fun fact about tortoises and turtles are they live to be 80 to about 120 years old. Isn't that amazing? Being a tortoise has 4 legs, we're going to draw the other 2 legs, which are in the background. They're going further away, so they're going to be smaller and shorter. And we're going to draw them on either side of the original 2 legs we made. Now I'm going to draw in the details on the bottom of the feet, and they have these little fingernail kind of scaly things. So I drew those in, and now we're going to draw the tail, which is basically a triangle that we'll put on the opposite side of where you put your head and neck. Now we're going to give the shell its details. A tortoise's shell has little sections, so I'm going to make a dot at the top of my half circle and bring lines that go down as a guide to know where I'm going to draw all my shapes inside my tortoise's shell. Now that I drew the lines, I'm going to make shapes that go inside each one of those sections. They're kind of like squares, and I'm following those guidelines for the edges of those, kind of like a square, and at the top they'll be more triangular. And I'm making rows of these shapes that later on I can color. So continue putting all of your squares and shapes inside those guidelines. And now you're going to finish off your tortoise with some eyes, that are like circles and give your tortoise a big smiley face because he's really happy. And you can put even more details if you want, and use your imagination. If you watched my video on perspective, we learned about horizon lines. I'm drawing a horizon line in the background so that it looks like my turtle is actually standing on the ground and there's the sky. It's where the horizon line is where the land meets the sky. So I made that line and now it looks like my turtle is standing on the grass or whatever you decide to draw. Now I'm getting my black pen and I'm going to outline all of my pencil lines, and then I'm going to take an eraser and erase all of those lines so I have a nice clean picture to start coloring. Now I've got my color crayons out and I've decided I'm going to do a stylized turtle, meaning I'm going to just use my creativity and not make it realistic. So I decided purple was the color I was going to color in my turtle's body. Now I'm going back in and I'm going to do all of the coloring on the shells. And I decided I was going to make a pattern. So I'm laying out my colors and I'm deciding, do I want to do warm colors, orange, yellow, red, or do I want to do cool colors, blue, green, and purple, or a combination? That's up to you. That's using your creative side. So I decided I was going to do cool colors for the background of the shell and warm colors for the shapes. And now I'm going in and making a sky with clouds, and I'm coloring that with blue, more realistic, and I put flowers on the land, and I think I'm going to color that in green. Did you know if you use the side of your crayon, you can color more surface area than if you color just with the tip? So I'm using the side of the crayon. You can peel off the paper and kind of use it on its side versus how you normally would hold a pencil. So I'm coloring it all in, and there you go. There is my tortoise. That is a land turtle, and those are called tortoises. So our second drawing is going to be a sea turtle that lives in the ocean. And we're going to do it with our paper going portrait, which is vertical or up and down. And we're going to do the same thing. We're not folding the paper this time. We're just going to break it down into simple shapes. All right, so now we are going to draw the body of our sea turtle, and it looks like a strawberry, sort of wider on the top, and it goes down to a rounded tip bottom. And I drew some sketch lines, and I see that I'm kind of liking the outer line that I drew, the second line. So I'm erasing that inner line. And you can draw many lines until you get the line that you think is correct and then erase the others. Now the head looks kind of like a strawberry upside down with just the bottom of the strawberry, or a mountain. And now you're going to draw two mountains on either side of your head coming out. And then you're going to do another one, which is symmetrical, meaning try to make them as equal as possible. And then you're going to draw one line up parallel to that line that you drew, and then out like another V. And now we're going to draw the bottom feet, which are on either side. But first we're going to give the little tail, which is another little bump. We're doing a lot of these little bumps or mountaintops for this sea turtle. And now that we have our turtle shell, head, and 4 legs, we are going to do the design inside the shell. And this is a really cool way of breaking it down. You're going to trace or follow the line that you made of the shell parallel and make a smaller shell inside that shell. So a smaller strawberry inside that strawberry. And now I am drawing a 6-sided shape. Does anybody know what that shape would be? Did you guess hexagon? You are correct. Now you're going to draw 2 lines under your hexagon, and those are kind of straight lines. And now you're going to radiate lines coming from each one of those edges of your hexagon at the top, which are 4 lines. Now you're going to draw 2 more hexagons underneath that first hexagon, and drawing lines out the bottom one going to the bottom of the shell. Now connect all the lines, and now you have your design on the top of your shell. Now you're going to make segments or sections around the shell by just drawing some lines that go out around the outside. I tried to make them even, and there you go, my finished shell. So now I took my pen and I outlined all of my lines, and I am going to make sure that I fill in all those lines and erase now my pencil line. So now I'm ready to color my sea turtle, and I'm doing that with color crayons, and you can do the same. Oops, I forgot eyes. I'm going to draw 2 eyes on the side of my turtle. There you go. All right, so keep drawing and coloring all of your beautiful shells. You can make a pattern of different colors. I chose brown to make it more realistic. I'm going to go back in with some green on top of that brown so it has some shading of a different color. And you can really do whatever you want on that. And I'm just going in with some green around the brown and maybe a little bit of blue as well. So now I'm going to work on the background, making some wavy lines that represent the water that the sea turtle is swimming in. I did it in 2 different color blues, one light blue and one dark blue, and making sort of like a pattern in the background. I am going to do another step. You could leave it like this, or I'm going to get watercolor and I'm going to paint over the top of my sea turtle. And I have 2 color blues here, and I'm going to just watercolor over the top because actually crayon is made of a wax kind of material that will resist the watercolor paint, meaning it will not soak into wherever you have color crayons. It will go around it and pill up, and it's a really cool technique. So I'm going to water down my watercolors and just brush over the top of my sea turtle, and you will see how it looks. It will show the turtle and the waves, and at the same time, it will fill in anywhere where there's white. Now I'm going in with the darker blue, and I'm making some wave lines with that, and that will also resist the crayon lines. Adding some water to my paint and just making a pattern of lines. And I'm going to continue making those wavy lines all the way up to the top of the page. Don't worry about going over the turtle with the lines because it will resist. Just finishing up the background, and once that dries, you can go back in with color crayons and add some more details. I added some dolphin under the water. I thought that was kind of cool. So we learned 2 different types of turtles, tortoise, which is a land, and a sea turtle. Thank you so much for joining me today. Art with Miss A. And remember, if you can imagine it, you can make it, and you can change your world. Stay safe. Bye for now.